Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film. We head to South Africa this week with Bruce Beresford's 1980 Second Boer War epic, Breaker Morant. As always, I'm joined by Mike A.
Hello.
And Nate.
Hello. I'm sick.
Mike B's out on a commando raid this week and will join us next week.
Yeah, he's off having fun while we're here suffering in sickness and movies like this.
So, guys, what'd you think?
I like how they're both the same thing for you. You're just like, oh, movies and sickness.
Hey, when you're sick, you sit down and you watch a movie.
That is very true. I'm going to try to talk with this cough drop in my mouth because the alternative is like hack.
The alternative is hell for you viewers.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why the microphone input was wrong last week, so I apologize. I was slowly falling into whatever fucking horrid thing this is, and it's been like fucking 8 days of this crap.
Yeah, I still got it. Doesn't sound like it's nearly as bad as what you had.
No,
for me, but it's just like this cold, and it's in kind of my chest now, but it'll get out soon. But anyway, the movie. We're talking about the movie.
well, we got to fill in the time somehow. It's a courtroom.
Yeah, we got to stretch
movie.
this thing. If you want, we can end it in like 2 minutes. But so I guess
OJ's
I can go
guilty.
first.
Brian's making the face of, "Oh, you simpletons! You don't understand.
You don't
cinema
appreciate
face.
This great
That's what he's.
piece.
That fucking smug face is coming up. It's
No,
like, oh yes.
I don't dislike this movie. I just I'd never heard of it, and as Brian told me, it's like one of the only movies about the Boer Wars, in South Africa, and it has some interesting things to it, but simultaneously, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It has, like I say, it has some cool bits to it, and it's fairly entertaining. I don't love it or anything like that. It's okay, So that's kind of my spiel for opening. I'll let the cough drop sink in a little bit for Nate and pass it off to Brian.
Yeah, that'll give me like another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little long, I know, but it's an interesting movie, for what it is. I wish there was another Boer War film that had a different perspective versus a courtroom drama. But no, it's very interesting. And what's crazy is that it's a true story. Like, this is basically 90% of the truth of what they show in the film to what actually happened, down to the attack where they actually helped defend the fort and then still get shot in the end. So it's just really, really crazy. Spoiler alert. But it's a really interesting film, and one that was made, in Australia for Australians. How we keep talking about on this podcast how films are a product of their nation, and this is really a product of Australia, Western Australia specifically, because Breaker Morant is known in that part of the world, but he's really not known in this part of the world, and I think everyone here has to look him up. But he got that name because he was known for breaking horses that were wild, because Australia at the time, was a colony. And even guys that went to, American soldiers that went to Australia in the Second World War, compared it to the American Wild West of the 1880s and the 1940s. So you can kind of imagine what it was like in Western Australia when these guys were recruited to fight in South Africa, around the turn of the century, 40 years earlier. It's a very rough place. So you get very rough necks. So anyway, no, it's a very interesting film. Not for the fact that, they're in South Africa, but they really do show how different members of the empire were from different colonies. Like, there's a one dinner sequence where you have an Englishman, you have an Australian, you have a South African, a guy that was in India, and everyone has a little bit of different culture because everyone has a little bit of a different experience, because it's, as they said, the sun never sets on the British Empire. So I don't know, it's a very interesting film, and it's one that really shows a time and place that doesn't exist anymore for multiple reasons. But no, it's very interesting. So not to say it doesn't have its flaws that we'll get into, but it's worth a watch.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, I think the best actor is the guy who sounds like he's from every Monty Python skit ever.
That narrows it down. Who are you talking about exactly?
The corporal that's like got the gate guard or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. There's a certain accent in the world that's like that.
Well,
Anyway.
I'm not an expert at all when it comes to British dialect, but
they all sound the same. It was all right, dude.
Yeah, well, not only, but like I don't know, it's just something like when I was watching this, I just kind of had a realization, like some things that are like the things that are old and British to me are just sometimes funny. You know, like I don't know how else to describe it, but like just some of the stuff in this, the way people speak and stuff like that, and there's like that part where the guy says like, you know, I don't know anything about it, and the guy says, "You liar!" You know, it's just like he sounds like an opera singer. It's like this is just ridiculous. But and I guess that's just my own personal things that sometimes I find old British things to be funny.
Well, you know the lead is from, just while I read it. Woodward.
What's that?
Do you know who the lead is from? What he's famous for?
I know him. I know him from The Wicker Man.
Yes,
that's what yeah. Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, that guy. The guy who Nicolas Cage played in the remake.
Yes. Yep. That was his.
Not the bees.
Cultist role.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there are no bees in the original Wicker Man.
You know they've cut that from any type of TV version of that movie. Little trivia here.
Are you talking about the Nicolas Cage one? Or
yeah,
what? They've cut out the bee scene.
They cut out everything of that scene when the internet started making ridicule of it. They've cut it from everything.
Oh, that's stupid.
You can't get it. I think if I'm correct, then don't quote me on this. Everyone who decides to go try to find it. Yeah, I believe all the streaming versions don't have that scene in that for that exact reason. Bees. Because M. Night Shyamalan couldn't handle the fact that or whoever made it, I can't remember, couldn't stand all the fucking humiliation.
Well,
so they cut it out of all the streaming things, and then I think it's like only the original versions have that scene.
Well, I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, but everything you've done fucking sucks, except for. I don't know. The Sixth Sense was kind of a product.
What about his last one that everyone said he was like really, really good with? Whatever.
What, Old or whatever it is?
No. Well, no. Didn't he do that one with
Signs?
No.
That's going way back.
No, Brian. Jesus Christ. No, the recent one. It's like a gay couple and their kid, and it's like a cabin, and he has to decide.
The Happening.
No.
I don't know. Look at
Are you trying to murder me in my sleep? What? No.
Let's see. M. Night Shyamalan.
There's like a cabin movie.
Damn it.
I can't remember.
Look it up.
That's what I'm looking up right now.
Yeah. It's got the guy. It's got Dave Bautista in it.
Okay.
It's like it should be recent or
Knock
recently.
at the Cabin.
Yeah. Is that his movie?
Hello.
Yeah, or am I completely not even like?
No, it has Dave Bautista in it.
Bautista,
whatever. I don't know how to read people's names.
One more time. Oh, really?
Bautista. That's what I saw. Yeah, like barista, but with no R. Oh, see, now I purposely did that so I could kill Nate.
No, you can kill me off.
That's for laughing at me, asshole.
I guess I'll get into my thing.
Yeah, back to the movie.
Yeah. No, I mean all in all, I mean it was a very interesting movie to suggest this week because I was waiting for like a because the posters made me suggest that it was like a 1960s, black and white film, and thankfully, I normally what I try to do is I try not to jump into anything prior to watching this, and the HBO had a black and white poster. I'm like, all right, let's get ready, and it was a colorized film from 1980, and that was like really, really surprising, and quality was really good to see an HD remaster of it, and all in all, I was not expecting a courtroom drama film. you kind of understand what these things are going to be. Unfortunately, these guys are going to be sacrificed due to people's ignorance and egos, and people not wanting to be embarrassed.
It's paths of glory. It's just, it's the
Yeah,
exact same thing.
it's the same. I mean, I don't even think it's paths of glory. I just think it's real life. I think it's real military bullshit that happens. Unfortunately, that claims people's lives to scapegoat and further push an agenda and save people who are at risk of being in trouble if they ever or something were ever to come out. And I think it's the tale's as old as time. It's just what era does it come out in. And that's not to say that doesn't mean that I want to take away anything from this movie at all. It's just I could see what was going to happen all the way through. But it's I think it's obviously, like Brian said, it's a real story. So obviously the patterns exist, unfortunately, within military tribunals and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. It just seemed like it was a very unique war to kind of put it on. It kind of reminded me of a lot of, I had to do a lot of research afterwards because I'm like, what the fuck is a Boer War? Like, are they killing boars? And I knew
Like pigs.
like pigs, but I knew it was a type of people, like the Boers and all that kind of stuff. But it was just like the very first thing. I'm like,
you people.
yeah, like I was just like, okay, but I was like, they're like, oh, it's in South Africa, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then I'm thinking like, oh, they're gonna be like, it's gonna be like, Zulu. No, it's like German Dutch white farmers. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay.
Do you not know about the Boers and South Africa and all
I
that
had
stuff?
no, I had nothing of that. I knew nothing of that, so it was very like out of left field for me, and so like my history fascination never came across that side of the world, so it just was like, all right, so I got to learn something, after watching the movie.
You mean there are white people in Africa?
Well, okay, all right, hold on. Yes, I knew this going into it, but I just was like, I was waiting for, for some reason I always thought the Boer War was like around like Zulu era, so I was also waiting for like Martini Henrys, and all I saw were like early Lee Enfields, and I was like, holy crap!
Yeah, it's like early 1900, just like right on 1900.
Rule 303. Following Rule 303. It's long. I was not ready for how long it was, but I liked it. I thought it was, I thought it kept its pacing pretty well. I was not ever really checking the time per se to be like, when is this over? But like more of like, how much time do I have left because I need to go do an errand. So it wasn't because of the movie, it was because I had life. But it just was interesting to say the least. And I liked the way it was played out, and I liked all the kind of tropes to it. I thought it was very interesting, and I was not expecting the fort attack, and the fact that they would defend it and do all that, and so that was really cool. But yeah, no, we can dive into it and talk about that. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I was not ready to enjoy a movie like that. I was not expecting a movie like that today, but it was good.
Not only do they participate in the attack, they're the ones who save the day. They're the ones who are pull out the machine gun, and then they're out there shooting them in the back as they go away. So
yeah, with Vickers,
I think so. Yeah, something.
Yeah,
I don't know how accurate that is. If like those guys, even though they did participate in that actual attack, if they were like if it was saved because of them necessarily.
So, before we get into that, we can just jump into this quickly. What is a Boer and what is the Boer War?
Don't be confused. Don't make it sound like the Emu War. It's not. They're not. It's not pigs. It's not
different
the same
continent.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, neither are emus, but
I was gonna say I was gonna say that's because there were Lewis guns, and Lewis guns eat ostriches, bird like things all day long. So.
Yes. Says the man that wants an ostrich and a Lewis gun.
I want an emu and a Lewis gun. Yeah.
In that order.
That order.
But No, so long story short, South Africa's funny because it really all comes down to one thing: long sea voyages. So the they were trading with Asia, and they were going south of Africa along the Cape of Good Hope. If I remember correctly, Nathan, Cape Town, is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Because I forget what the one in the Americas is called. Around South Africa, or sorry, South America.
What are we at? Wait, what are we asking here?
Well, I'm just saying it's the story of South Africa is interesting because it really all comes down to shipping and the fact that Europe is trading with Asia for spices and shit because there wasn't any Suez Canal yet, and there were very long sea voyages, so they needed like a halfway point. And because the Cape of Good Hope, which is the passage um, from the Atlantic into the Indian Ocean, it's very rough. It's so rough. They wanted a place that's kind of equidistant there to like have dudes rest out and chill, have brothels, whatever the fuck, so that when they're doing these long sea voyages, they had a place to stay. And the Brits were the first ones to set up a colony at Cape Town, next to this huge mountain called Table Mountain. So the Dutch East India Company used that. The Portuguese used that. All these traders used this port, Cape Town in South Africa, to basically go east and west. And with trade ports and stuff, and especially in Africa, when you have this huge continent, unlike the Caribbean where you have small islands, you're eventually going to hit a coast. It brought people, and people eventually went inland and they settled and found things. And a lot of people that came to South Africa at the time were, Dutch people or Germans as well, that really didn't like what was going on in Europe. Kind of similar to what happened in America 100 years earlier, with the Puritans and everything. And also, this was in the 1850s that they basically found Cape Town. And long story short, they pushed into the interior. And as they did, the British also pushed into the interior. And they found tons of resources, gold, diamonds, eventually cobalt today. But as Nate said, he was thinking this is going to be like a Zulu War movie or something. And the Zulu Wars happened in the 1870s and the 1880s. The Dutch were still there, and they basically formed two places called the Transvaal and the Orange Free State. And they had their own sovereignty until about 1880, which was a year after Rorke's Drift and the disaster at Isloanda, which was the big Zulu War event that you see in the movie Zulu. And they basically just said the Transvaal now belongs to the United Kingdom because they found tons of diamond and gold resources in the last few years, like prospecting. The Boers didn't like that, and they declared their independence again, and the British marched an army into the Transvaal, and basically the commandos destroyed them in this huge battle. They annihilated the column. And there were a few other battles that were crazy. There's one big battle on a mountain where the British climbed it in the middle of the night to get above the Boers, and all of a sudden the sun came up, and they realized that they had dug in on a false peak, and the Boers were above them, and the Boers shot down into the Brits, thinking that they were above the Boers, and it was this crazy battle. So long story short, the Boers win their independence in 1880. And then the scramble for Africa happens. And nobody really gives a shit about, the Boers for about 20 years. 15, 20 years. Then they slowly start to arm themselves because they find more resources, and there's really nowhere left in Africa to get. And England basically sees this little, blot, or the United Kingdom sees this little blot in their map of South Africa and says, we really want to make this all the same color. So 1899, they annex it and they go to war. And the Boers do crazy things. They actually attack outside their borders in the South Africa proper with commando raids. And it gets really bad. They have concentration camps where they basically take, all the population, they burn all the villages and they put them in these big camps. A lot of, Boers die from that. It's really horrible. Really the first modern war, a lot of people argue. It's really crazy, and it's the first or the last real big war before the First World War. So it's very important to history. It's the first time trenches are really used. It's the Highlanders that fight in the Boer War that remember the Boer tactics, that dig trenches at Mons in 1914 that stopped the Germans. It's very interesting, the lineage of what happens here affects, big world events. But that's kind of a quick history of the Boer War. It's at the beginning of England's real scramble in Africa and at the end. It's just like 20-year period where they just didn't care about it.
And that was like what? That was 1901.
So the Boer War was fought from 1899 to 1902, and this took place in 1901, where basically they were trying to say, "Hey, horrible things have happened, but look, we're trying our own, and we're policing our own, so we can all be the same." And scapegoat for empire.
The when was the Russo-Japanese War? That's
1904 to 1905.
Okay.
And that was just as big, but that really involved one European partner,
Right.
Like
Right. Yeah, because I mean, like again, like you just said, like I don't know, I didn't know anything about the Boer War, and so doing a quick search on my end, but also just hearing you, it's like I wish it had more coverage, because I'd love to like see like that whole entire thing about trying to climb the mountain and they're on top of.
It's fascinating, yeah. There's so the other thing too is that the Boers get really famous because they have the Mauser 7mm M93, which was the same rifle that the Spanish were using at the time during the Spanish-American War, and which basically made the U.S. government question their idea of what the fuck is a Krag and why do we have it, which led to the 03. Well, the same thing with the Mauser led the Brits to question their firearms, which led to the improvements of, at the time, the standard rifle was the Lee Metford. But because there was such a big colonial army that was in South Africa, they used different things. Like, for example, the New Zealanders that were there, they mostly used converted Henry Martini carbines that shot 303. So, and also I should mention, 303 was a pretty new caliber. It really, 455 was used until, God, the mid 1890s. The Lee Metford and that was very new, so they didn't want to give it out to anyone. So really, only the good units had the Lee Metfords at the speed leads, they were called, which is basically anything with like a number 3 SMLE action. And after the war, they use all what they learned and they say, we have to make a better rifle. So we're going to make the short magazine Lee Enfield, which is a Lee Metford that's shorter, that has a bull nose. Because if you notice the rifles in this, we'll get to it when we talk about the firearms, because there is an IMFDB page for this. They make they shorten the end of it because they don't want to get stuck on anything. And basically the SMLE comes out of this war. 1906, 1905 is when they start to make the first ones. The war ends in 02. So it's very interesting. But the Boers were using these really awesome Mausers that just really changed militaries across the world. It's why we get the 03. It's why we get, the SMLE. It's very interesting. So here's a quote that will piss off Nathan. I said, not quote, but an assumption. I said, it's like My Cousin Vinny mixed with Paths of Glory, but it's British and it happened.
Wait.
I'm not mad. I'm just impressed.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen My Cousin Vinny.
What? Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's the best courtroom movie ever.
I know of it,
Grits.
and I know what's in it, but I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through.
You've been to the South and you haven't seen that movie.
So maybe that's why I'm not viscerally angry. I have look. The only reason why I crawled down your throat last week about Dead Snow, it's like
that's a great movie.
That's a horrible movie. Stop saying it's a great movie.
Nathan, you're the right to be wrong. It's fine.
So do you. So it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But
but you're wronger.
All I remember about that is am I gonna get somewhat laid tonight when I watch that movie?
Say that again.
Which is why my comment was the way it was. So that's all I remember about that movie is will I get semi lucky, and I got half lucky. I got like my first tug ever. So that was fun. Right when the guy's being like chainsawed, nothing gets me more going than that fucking scene. I guess.
Wow, that's a hell of a tale.
Well, this is your season then, buddy. Have fun.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna if you make me watch that, just realize it might be with half a chub. I mean, that's fine.
That changes my whole outlook. What we're doing next week?
God, no, please.
It's like the Tosh.0 like gay challenge. It's like, yeah, you just like, get your friends in your underwear and watch gay porn. Whoever gets an erection is gay.
Right.
Watching you, Michael. No.
We could all do that on a webcam and just like wait and see who breaks first.
Oh God.
Birch.
Yeah, Birch.
This movie does touch on a few things that you touched on, Michael, with your movie.
What's
Not
that?
to plug it anyway. Well, what do
No,
we
I
do
appreciate
in the
it.
heat of the moment,
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the human condition?
Right.
They saw that guy's body, not knowing that he was mutilated because he shot their commander.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting, and also getting to the root of something.
Yeah.
What is an oral order? Where does the buck stop?
Right. And I mean, I guess that is the thesis for the film. Because that's really what it's about. They never deny that they killed these people. They never say that, but it's like, well, it was all about doing what we were, basically rules of engagement, or like rules of how to go about this war or something like that. So that was the question that was really argued through it, not necessarily whether or not this happened.
True, and not to justify anything, but this is always a question that's applied to German POWs from the Second World War,
Right.
And following orders and all that jazz. So it is interesting to see the same things applied, but to in some people's mind, a more civilized nation or something in a war they've really never heard of, so like the Boer War.
Mm-hmm.
Like what drives people to kill
Right,
innocent people and things.
That one guy, the translator, he was just like, I want to kill people.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and then he's later on, he's like, no, I didn't say that. And they're like, you were like ready to fucking kill people.
And then died. Nobody gave a shit. Just a fucking, Boers or the Brits. Just an asshole.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they do say it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Mm.
So you can understand why some people do things.
Yep. But when the courtroom stuff did start, I was just at that point, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, it's gonna be paths of glory with this. Like, they're gonna the higher ups are gonna constantly lie and shit like that, and we're not gonna like that. That's gonna be the movie.
You can't handle the truth,
right? Yeah, it's gonna be stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've seen it before. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just like, yeah, I've seen it before. This sort of thing.
But I mean, yep. I guess we have to, other than Paths of Glory, I mean, what other movie at that point had done something like that? Because this is 1980s, so it's not. We're not having the tropes of how many modern military courtroom films have.
Right. What the fuck's the Sorkin movie?
The what?
What the fuck's the Sorkin movie with the
what?
Who's
What's the word you're saying? I don't even know what you're saying.
I forget the writer. His name is Sorkin or something. He did The West Wing, but he wrote that movie with trying to think of it. It's got Tom Cruise, who's like a lawyer.
You're talking about? Oh, you're talking about Can't Handle the Truth.
The
thing I quoted with Jack Nicholson.
You're talking about A Few Good Men.
Yeah, that's like
you couldn't
another courtroom
title.
Yeah. Well, not what I
only just quoted it, but you couldn't remember what the name was.
Yes.
You're like, you made the quote. He's like, now what's the name of that movie? The one you just fucking quoted.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
No, he didn't say that. That was the joke. That he didn't say.
Yeah.
That.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but
it's Brian for you. It's okay.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing, But
besides those two,
I guess it's but
I mean, I guess the difference is like, you look like that dramatic pause was not supposed to be in there. I almost choked on my cough drop.
That would have been dramatic.
The Cane Mutiny. That's a great movie, actually.
Oh,
Judgment at Nuremberg.
There's a difference. There is a difference, though, between some courtroom things. I mean, because you could technically say The Bounty is a courtroom movie. Has anyone ever fucking seen that?
I have
never seen that.
I have seen The Bounty.
This is a podcast, and we need to talk, guys.
Sorry,
like,
I was reading a text. I'm sorry.
Everyone just stared at me like I had 4 heads.
I've seen that movie. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay, so you have seen that movie.
Yes,
So
I know the ship went down in a hurricane a few years ago.
okay,
I know the whole
so
story.
so I guess I'm not gonna lead with that fucking topic because you guys don't seem to.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen it.
I was saying, you've never seen Mel Gibson, The Bounty. You've never seen that one?
No, I've never seen that.
With Liam Neeson and
Liam
Andy
Nielsen.
Hopkins. Did I say it right? Liam Nielsen. Nielsen.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. I had a stroke. I'm sorry.
That's staying in.
Don't worry. I will. I keep my flubs.
There's the Night of the General. There's actually a lot of them.
There were a lot in the '90s. There were a lot because of
Yeah.
a few good men.
Have you guys seen The Hill? Random. Have you seen with Sean Connery?
No.
That's another one. It's a desert themed one. It's kind of interesting.
But this is 1980, so that's why my point was. I was just trying to say this is the start of all this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it's like we've been bombarded with it for the last 43 years. I can't believe I said 1980s is 43 years ago. God damn.
Oh wait, no, Heart's War. Oh, it's so bad. A law student becomes a lieutenant during World War II, is captured and asked to defend a black prisoner of war falsely accused of murder.
Wait, say that movie
You've seen that, right?
I
Heart's
so
War?
vaguely remember it that I don't remember the whole courtroom drama.
That's the Colin Farrell one where
With
he
Bruce
gets
Willis.
he gets attacked.
Yeah,
He gets attacked by Germans dressed as MPs.
yeah, Battle of the Bulge shit.
Right.
I don't remember the courtroom drama in it because it was so bad. I just remember the Jeep and they were on a train, and then Bruce Willis takes apart a Luger in front of the commandant and puts it back together. I was yeah, that's gonna happen, We should watch that. But anyway,
What movie is him as a time traveler? Is that Six Monkeys?
Who?
Yeah,
Colin Farrell?
Bruce Willis.
Oh, Bruce Willis. So that's that's something about monkeys, and it's I think
get shot.
I had a couple friends of mine who were in that scene as reenactors with him in the mud.
Yeah.
Where he's naked, and they said he was just a major dick with a tiny penis.
Yeah. I can imagine. That doesn't surprise me at all.
It's just I was like, all right, that's what I learned today. And I was just he's like, to be fair, it was pretty cold. He goes, but he was a major dick.
It's not his penis.
Not his penis. Anyway,
Heart's War is so
Christ.
bad.
We've gotten Old Bay Hour off topic hard. Okay.
I've never seen that's like a POW movie, right? Or
yes,
it's kind of but really stupid.
But yeah, no, let's get a good 15 minutes in of this fucking movie.
Okay.
Before we go off topic again, the thing is I've noticed is that the only thing I didn't like about this movie in the sense, and the whole reason why I was kind of bringing up The Bounty originally before everyone just stared at me vacantly like some dead fish.
Sorry.
The movie does a great job of recounting flashbacks and kind of telling a story. The only thing I don't like about this movie is that it seemed like, I understand it wasn't what the goal was. The goal was to have you travel through this courtroom journey mainly. But what I liked about The Bounty in that sense is that it felt like I was getting more of a story out of it. Now, I'm saying that this doesn't deserve more of a story, but it seemed more kind of disjointed. Some things just didn't quite line up within the timeline. And I think that was something that I didn't necessarily quite enjoy and kind of confused me sometimes. Cause it's okay, what's the timeline of, the prisoner killing to the killing of the missionary guy and all this other stuff. And I get it. It's all disjointed different time frames, but that was the only thing I was noticing with this movie is that I was having a hard time kind of following that timeline. Whereas The Bounty tends to, kind of tell a story from start to finish of obviously the start to the end result. I know this doesn't have the same type of thing.
I wouldn't say it's non-linear, but it's kind of like that whole thing where they're trying to unfold two different stories at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And it's it worked, but I think that's where the movie tends to just kind of drag sometimes. It's okay, well, where are we going with this?
Mm-hmm.
What's the reason for the killing of the missionary? it wasn't like some dramatic thing. It was just like, oh, we think he's passing intel, fucking wreck him.
Yeah.
So like, okay, and I understand that, and it does, I'm not saying that tracks to what I think of the movie. It's just, if you compare it to other movies of the same era of telling kind of like a courtroom military drama tribunal thing, it's like it just felt a little bit more disjointed than the rest of the films that I've seen in terms of that. Like Samuel Jackson's Waste of Motherfuckers.
With
movie, like like that's kind of all over the place in that sense, because it goes from Vietnam to fucking
Guy Pearce was in that.
Iraq.
What was that called?
Whatever.
What was that movie called?
Fuck.
For some reason, I thought it was the movie where he goes, "Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell." But it's not. I just realized, it's not that movie.
No, it's
he just
Tommy Lee
Waste the
Jones.
Yeah.
Oh God damn it! It's gonna. Hold on.
No idea.
Hold on. Fucking Jesus.
Rules of Engagement.
That's what. Fuck. I knew it was rules of something. I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah.
Again, the topic of this sort of thing, rules of engagement.
Liar.
What?
Liar.
Yeah.
You liar. Liar. Yeah. I was thrown off by that. I was like, okay, that's a British BBC type.
Right. Yeah. Should have had everyone like jump in their seat when he said it. And it's just like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah. No, it's just like it. I wish, again, like I think what Brian says, like I wish we had more of this kind of era on film. Because again, it's like, but it's a kind of like Korean War kind of predicament where no one gives a fuck,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it really truly is. I mean, like, no one gives a fuck about, England being more English and, fighting after, Dutch in South Africa. Like, no one gives a fuck about that shit, unfortunately. And I think anyone who would give a fuck has been long gone. So it's like, how can you do a subject on how can you rope? I think the question is now is how can you rope in an era into a subject matter that people want to talk about?
Yeah. Well,
which I think is what we're starting to see with like, I only mean this just because we just watched it, unfortunately, but Blood and Gold. It's like, people are roping in a. Could you?
Oh no! What?
I'm laughing at the idea. Hold on.
What hypothetical movie did you come up with?
What if people just started fucking like? Because instead of just throwing stuff into World War II,
yeah.
What if they did that with the Boer War? Exactly the same thing, but you just do it with the Boer War. So it's like a bunch of pith helmets. British people with Victorian era mustaches are hunting gold in a Dutch village.
God.
And
hey, you could do it and make it like
You could do it.
Yeah. It's like
absolutely you could do it.
Yeah.
Colonizer, of course. You could do it.
It'd have like the tone and the feel of The Mummy or something.
Right?
Yeah.
So
right?
There is a film called Uncle Kruger. It's a 1941 German film about the Boers fighting the English in South Africa.
Yeah, I wonder who the villain is.
The Nazi propaganda film. Yeah, right.
Can we find that?
Probably not.
So Young Winston apparently also takes place during the Boer War from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to laugh. There's one called Blood and Glory.
Not Blood and Gold.
No, it's a feature film to South Africa. And it's apparently set during the Boer War. So maybe I'm a liar. It's from the Boer side, too, which is interesting.
Maybe we can find more. Maybe we can do some more Boer War films. Not this month, but maybe we can find something.
More Boer.
Later.
More Boer.
More Boer. More Boer.
Yeah.
More Boer. More Boer War.
Hashtag more Boer.
Hashtag more Boer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always thought South African history has been really interesting, but
very much so.
Yeah, so it's always it's always.
Where are you from? South Africa.
But it's always cool to see it, and stuff like this, or just looking at photographs and everything like that. I always think it's it's kind of like a weird version of the United States when with the colonists and such like that. It's kind of pretty much the same thing.
What I was thinking was interesting, at least in a way, to myself. It's strange to start with, but when they had all the different, let's say people from the colonies at the table, the Australian, and you have the Englishman, the Indian, the South African talking, I thought to myself, thank God there's not an American there, because if we didn't win the revolution, we would just be another flavor of the empire.
Mm,
You know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing in any way, but it's just I don't
right.
know. It's just something interesting.
It's an interesting
know.
thing to think about, you know.
Yeah, it's like okay, oh, the American contingent has arrived. It's like,
Well, I'm glad they
no,
didn't
fuck
have an
you.
American in there either, because you know he would
I
have
pay
been like,
taxes. Fuck you.
you know, he would have
know?
been like a gunslinger who's just like reaching for the food and stuffing it in his face and or something.
There's
and-
this great gift going around for like an anime that's like has an like this is what America is. Hey, you fucking guys, what the fuck you fucking want? You want some motherfucking hot dogs? Fucking guess fucking hot dogs you fucking have.
That is
Holy
always-
fucking shit.
Yeah.
I mean, to be brutally honest, though, when Brian's on the World War II TV, that's about what they think of him anyway. So.
They
Oh,
were so
God.
mad when he was swearing.
God,
Even though
my
Paul
God.
swears too,
Sorry, I'm
but yeah,
sorry.
they were like, "Oh, this."
Oh my God! Can you say anything else
Yeah,
but that
we're talking
word?
about war and
Oh.
people dying and murdering each other, but no, you have to use the king's language. Go fuck yourself.
Paul defended you in the
What
comments.
is what? Yeah, what does fuck mean? Fornication under consent of kings.
It's because
So
you're
fuck
from
you.
Connecticut. That's the problem. It's you're part of the original 13. That's why they hate you.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you know. There's people that got to the moon. There's people that didn't. What did they use anyway?
Your state was constantly on the king's side. I don't know what they're bitching about.
Mine?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. We had a dude. Go fuck yourself. They burned the city. Yeah, fucking basically.
I would to see that.
Yeah, fucking. The Chesapeake Bay was like Queen Victoria's swamp. Go fuck you. The town I was born in, the British burned down because they had salt there for the colonial army. Like 2 miles from where I worked, the colonial army wintered in 1778. Go fuck
Nice.
Oh, I know. I wanted to see what you would do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
yourself.
Oh wow! Look at General Lee's marching north. Gonna do nothing.
Hey, whoa,
Yeah, look at
whoa!
me.
We're not talking about
Yeah.
apparently the fence-sitting era. Okay, Marylanders held their own just the same as Connecticut's.
Dumb bullets.
Huh?
Dumb
Yeah,
bullets.
blow the back of your head apart or whatever.
That's a World War One
the
thing
dumb
too.
duff, right?
Mhm.
But that was used for the metal sparking on the back of the sniper shields.
Mm.
So again, you see where things start. And do you know how you make it dumb? You just pull a
file
head
it
of a
on the
bullet and
head.
flip it over.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what that's called. Yeah, I know that. I've heard about that before, but that's what that's
Really?
called. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, it's because the front of a bullet is pointed and the rear of a
Right.
bullet is a boat tailed, or usually it's boat tailed for military round, so it just looks like the bottom of a boat. So
I
you
thought
flip it
maybe they
around.
shaved- I
and
thought maybe they
no,
shaved it.
you
I
just
didn't
flip
realize you just
flip it
flip it
around and you hammer it in.
I didn't know
And
that was
then
the name for it, but
That's
yeah,
the shape.
Yeah.
Yep.
In World War One, did they use those to like penetrate tanks and stuff like that?
Well, it won't penetrate, but it causes spalding on the interior of the armor
Okay.
because it will hit and the force gets transferred through, but it won't penetrate.
Mhm.
So you still get the fracturing of the steel and thus spalling.
Okay.
So it is effective in a way.
Yeah, I heard about that being used in World War One.
Because you see, the guys with the face shields for their eyes.
Mhm.
That's the real risk. It's not. It could, your skins would usually stop it depending on a lot of factors, but
Mhm.
your eyes are really what's at most danger from that.
Right.
That's
Um,
interesting. I never knew that.
Yes, kangaroo court. Just want to call it that because it is an Australians being tried.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, like, by all British superiors, which is totally like, I like how they're like, oh yes, yes, they steal horses and they steal cattle and they make booze and they do all the debauchery that no Englishman does, even though I partake in it. Like, it's like, oh my god, like the bullshit of British
Empire.
of the British Empire. But I mean, I will not put a blanket like that so heavily on that just per se. Any military tribunal courts are complete bullshit unless it's cut and dry. Unless it's like obvious cut and dry, like this dude just shot this colonel in the face because he didn't want to go on watch, then yeah, okay, fine. But like most military tribunal stuff is just so we need someone to be scapegoated, so fuck you.
Hacksaw Ridge, another one that
Oh.
has a trial. It's Michael's favorite movie.
Yeah. The interesting thing though, what I think Desmond Doss was was brought before a military court. I'm not sure. I think he was though.
I believe he was.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was.
But then his drunken World War One father came in.
Yeah.
And his drunken World War One great.
No. His drunken Elrond high elf came in and told him that. Come on, Brian. Get with the lore, okay? Elrond of Rivendell came in and stopped him. Or Agent Smith.
I was about to say he's the
and came in and stopped him from killing him because I was not going against the algorithm of what the computers wrote for the future dystopia.
DOS.
Huh?
Just a D-cell battery, DOS.
I love when I love when he comes in that.
You know what you are, DOS? A virus.
I can taste your stink.
I just watched that last night, dude. I
love that
just watched the first one, and then I went to the second one, and I went, "This is a mistake because I love you too damn much." Came up, and then I was like, "Nope, these movies suck. The first one's the best. The rest of them can suck." Anyway,
the best green movie ever made.
taste.
Made in an era where green text on computers was like a thing.
Smell it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what it is today.
No one knows about that. They think that's just a thing from movies, but no, that is true.
Dude. Yeah.
What?
The Matrix screen.
Yeah, the green text. But so what were we talking about? The movie. Courtroom stuff. The end of Casualties of War has a military court as well.
And I haven't seen that in a long
that is more of one of the cut and dry things. It's like, so you did rape and murder this woman. And they're like, yeah, sorry. It's not.
It's them walking forever. It's boring.
Yeah,
it's more of like where the military court is actually like, they should have a trial over this.
And again, I mean, like there's some things, like I said, like that should have a court.
Yeah.
But then there's things like this where it's like, oh, this got out that they killed a bunch of people under the white flag. Oh, if it finds out that I said this as a colonel, then I'm going to look bad in my Victorian era thing. You know who can die? These 3 nobodies in from Australia. Because fuck them. And that's the bullshit. And it's like, we can read it from 10 miles away as something that's going to happen. I'm surprised they let the... I mean, like Brian said, that's a real story. So, but I'm kind of shocked that, like, they didn't just straight up kill all of them and not just the 2.
The other guy, he served a few years and then, like I said, got out. We're all pawns of something. I don't know. It's just crazy. They're all doing the same thing by orders, and then at the end of the day, if you need to get used for something, then whoops. It was a really bad war. They weren't wrong. These guys did commit crimes. That's true. But like at the end of the day, it's everyone had their hands dirty. Like even at the point where you have the lawyer, he's like, wonder what I did for the last 6 months. Like, I was.
Well, even the intelligence officer was going to go to court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was lined up next to be done. I mean, probably not the same. I mean, he said, like, I probably will not be charged with, like, murder. He's like, but I'm going to be charged with something. Yeah. But, do you know anything about that guy or no? I mean, was that ever recorded? The next guy? The intelligence officer dude?
Right? I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay.
Again, real people. But they mentioned at the end that he took a high post up in... Australia, or sorry, in South Africa or the Transvaal. That area eventually all became, different places. Because you look at South Africa today, it's a straight line for the northern border. Rhodesia, there's Mozambique and everything up there, but that was never part of the empire. That was Portuguese until they gave it up in 1977.
That's crazy. That was Portuguese till 1977.
Portuguese had a very horrible colonialism that put like people in shackles and chains and things until 1977. And it's not very well known. And I just want to end with this. Not very well known. It's forgotten. But Portuguese paratroopers armed with AR-10 rifles, patrolling with lizard skin camouflage and Mag-58s was a thing in the 1970s, which is crazy to think about. So.
Well, I know you and Mike have gone down a rabbit hole on a subject. I can't remember what subject we were talking about. I remember you guys talking about lizard skins and AR-10s. I think that was. I think it might have been the K98. The K98.
There weren't many other places that used that combination.
There was Well, because when was the South Africans turmoil? When was South Africa's turmoil in like?
Well, so basically it worked its way south through Africa.
Right.
So
because
it started
but like
Egypt
the only
in 58.
Right.
With the Suez Crisis, and then it slowly works its way south throughout Africa as you have decolonization that takes over through the mid 60s. You're in the Congo, Katanga, then Rhodesia, UDI, 1964. Slowly pushes south. It hangs out north of South Africa for a while because South Africa funds it and they try to keep communism away from them and away from their borders. And then eventually Rhodesia falls, Mozambique falls, Zambia falls. There's a lot of fighting in Angola in northern South Africa. In Angola and South Africa kind of simmer out as the Cold War simmers out. And that's kind of where it stops. And then Mandela takes over.
Because that's that whole conflict for Lethal Weapon 2, right? Like that's like that
Yep, that's the late 80s and everything. Yeah. Apartheid and all that stuff. Horrible. But you have that's where it stops, just north of South Africa is where they're able to really end it as the Cold War ends. And then you have the governments that take over for what we have today. You still have the same government leading Rhodesia or Zimbabwe now that you had took over in 1980. So
yeah, because they're still having a lot of mainly race oriented troubles over there.
Well, it's a lot of reckoning for a lot of bad history. It's I don't know.
So are the Boers? So are the Boers still like integrated within that population, or what happened to the Boers in general?
The whites of South Africa because they speak Afrikaans,
which is like,
and I have
it's like really Dutch and Zulu kind of combined.
I have some friends that are from South Africa, and they all have that accent. Like Musk, he's from South Africa. They got that very interesting accent, and since the 90s, a lot of things have changed. It's gotten a lot more dangerous. Like if you look at District 9, they shot that in Johannesburg. Like it's just unfortunately it's very impoverished, and it's a country that's still forming. And every country that's forming needs 50 to 100 years to figure itself out, and we're 25 years into that process. So it just things take time, and things have to change. A lot of the Boers became farmers. And there's actually a film, I got to look it up, but it's about South Africans during the Second World War and how there was a very high sentiment towards Nazi Germany, like pro-Nazi Germany in South Africa. Mm-hmm. Michael?
Joe, just saying that the whole thing with the Boers, the farmers, that's the whole thing that's been going on over in South Africa recently with the basically the descendants of the Boers have been like, people are coming to their farms and raiding them and slaughtering them and doing horrible things to them. Do you hear about those stories today? Those are like descendants of the Boers.
Okay,
that's
bad, the population that's being targeted by a lot of
them are leaving and everything. Yeah, it's really bad.
It's gotten worse in the last 10 years.
Yeah, apparently. My girlfriend Jamie, she stays super updated on that stuff because it's like to her, and it should be to everyone as well. It's a really fucked up thing that should have attention on it.
Yeah, I have a friend's wife who's South African, and all her whole family's still there, and they constantly are dealing with people raiding their farms, coming in, threatening to burn stuff down, steal, raid, threaten to kill them, rape them, like the whole 9 yards. And she's like, she stays in contact with them, and they're armed to the teeth down on that farm, and that's like their own little like raid, their whole homestead there. And they're just holding their ground.
Some of the stuff Jamie has told me, the stories she's read, it's just like, my God, dude,
And it gets no attention either.
No,
I mean, it's like nothing. The people don't care. It's a reckoning in people's eyes.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that people want to pretend that doesn't happen. But anyway, now we're getting kind of political.
That's political.
It's very rough history, and that's the problem when you have a certain period of one power doing things. You thus have a certain period of another power getting that out for whatever reasons, and economic strife and poverty and unfortunate situations just make it worse and bring out the worst in people, just like this film depicts. What do you do in certain situations? What is evil? What is a monster? Nobody. Well, that's the argument you can always argue, nature versus nurture, but it's that's what you get. There's a great, I forget the book, but there's a great thing I remember where basically, at the end of the Second World War, the Germans lost East Prussia. They had to give it up to Soviet Union, which is now Kaliningrad, as an enclave of Russia. And, these East Prussians were walking through Poland going west, and everyone was crying and stuff. And one of the, this girl's father, looked at her and said, well, sometimes you got to pay with land for your deeds. And this is just our paying for our deeds with something. So we lost our homeland because of actions we took. And that's just the way it goes. So that being said, it's sometimes a generation loses something for their country that they can never get back. Mm-hmm. And well, that's what happens. So I don't know. It's history's funny.
Yeah, and with when it comes to what's going on in South Africa today, it's from a generation that's from a generation that has nothing to do with them, or that they don't have anything to do with, from a previous generation.
Yeah.
So
it's unfortunately just nothing goes away.
Yeah.
Another quote I love is hope to God your country never gets occupied, because it brings out the worst in everyone.
Absolutely.
So
I would say the movie The Pianist kind of does a really good job of showing that.
Yeah,
I can remember.
One thing I'll say while we're waiting for Nate is, so in the original trial, there were a few things that differed.
Mm-hmm.
First thing was there were actually 6 guys that they were trying, and 3 of them were acquitted, or they got different sentences. So they only chose the youngest one and 2 guys that ended up getting shot. The Kaiser never put anything into any, I don't know, telegram or something saying that he was mad that a German minister got shot.
Mm.
That might have happened between, cousins or something because they were related, but there's nothing official that ever happened like they mentioned in the movie.
Interesting.
A lot of guys were getting their grudges out on their officers they didn't like. Like the one guy that said he'd walk 60 miles to shoot, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That was true. So a lot of the people that were, as they show with the one captain that were testifying, just wanted to get grievances out against them. And they're like, oh, really? Well, now's my time. Fuck them, So it's
liked how
interesting.
Nonchalant the opening text is. It's just it's very complicated, but to sum it up, that's kind of what it says.
Mm-hmm.
I think the movie did really well. All thing I know is that I really want one of those bandoliers
for
my Lee Enfield.
With the bullets sticking out on the ends.
Yeah, I really, really, really want one of those. I just got a Moss 49 bandolier for $10. I don't know how I got it for that cheap, but I did. And that's one of my goals is if I can go to the range with a bandolier on my shoulder, I'm gonna feel so good. So if the theme today is Lee Enfields, it's I'm gonna go to the range with a Lee Enfield with one of those Lee Enfield bandoliers. I bet I could find one like that somewhere online.
This is the height of African British colonialism. It's crazy hats, good rifles, really cool kit. It's pre-helmets. This is the craziest it will get.
It's not as crazy as talking about British stuff. It's crazy that one about the Crimean War, that movie that we watched.
Well, yeah, that was 50 years before this.
Yeah, I know.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
No, but just think about how much it changed in 50 years.
Yeah.
With the advent of just different tactics and things. And only 50 years before that was fucking, or 40 years before that was Napoleonic Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just crazy to think how far they came in such a short period of time.
Okay, I don't want to change the topic so much, but I have to ask this question since you asked it. Mike, have you seen the trailer for Napoleon?
I've seen the trailer. Yes, I haven't seen the movie yet.
No, right. It's not out yet.
Yeah.
So I'd ask you a question I'd ask you to connect me who you knew if you saw the movie.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, what do you have? I know I'm gonna ask Brian after he's done chewing whatever the hell he's eating, but what do you think of the trailer? Do you think it's just gonna be?
I think it could look pretty. I think it looks pretty cool. I think that
it feels too modern to me for it to be.
Well, some of the
I say this only because of the trailer, the way it does, like blah blah blah, like it has to hit the.
You always have that.
It has to hit the generational
right
intriguement of a movie, because Ridley Scott, I believe, is the guy who said that people are too involved in their phones to care about real cinema anymore. So he's obviously caving to that and trying to hit a trailer that matches the same aesthetic. Because didn't his last feature, like The Last Duel, like fail horribly because it's just a really weird movie?
Yeah, I think he tried to go a little more doing avant-garde kind of stuff, like how he did.
Look, I'll just say I can't believe you cast Matt Damon as that role. It just doesn't work. But that's just me.
That was something that he started like at the beginning of his career, I think, that movie. And then he just like set it down to do.
Brian's trying to swallow his almonds so fast that he can comment on this.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
Peanuts.
Jesus. Okay. Sorry.
He can probably say it better than me.
Sorry. The lower class nut to put in your mouth.
Yeah, sorry, Nathan. I don't specialize in BBC like you. So, what do you call it? I'm looking forward to it. It doesn't look too modern to me. I'm sorry to hear what you mentioned because it's stupid. But we'll see. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's hard for me to pass judgment on something until I've seen it because trailers are so tricky. There's so many good trailers that are horrible films, and there's so many horrible films that have good trailers. So it's
no, I agree. I mean, it's hard. That's why I try to stay away from trailers, because I don't like having things ruined for me in a trailer. The only reason why I had asked that question with the Napoleon is just like, that is also something that just a comment on something that is not normally seen in cinema anymore since the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right on that, or am I wrong on that?
Say that one more time. What was it?
Like that Napoleonic warfare has not really been seen since the 70s or 80s in terms of high release cinema movies. I'm not talking about
Sharp's rifle.
Well, that's a TV movie, and as much as I will bow down to that fucking series of movies, that
outside of that, I can't think of something now.
Look, you and I have a difference of opinion. Those movies are fucking awesome and amazing. You think they're awesome and amazing except for the soundtrack. I think they're awesome and amazing because of the soundtrack. So, that's fine. We can disagree. And I love your face right now.
Well, you're wrong. So.
Well, I mean, it sounds
you're doing
like
you're doing the opinion thing where I don't agree with it again. So,
well, I mean, there's a theme here. You and I tend to differ on a lot of.
I know you got to go back to school.
Well, it's interesting. Seeing like something like this hasn't been done since then. Stanley Kubrick at one point wanted to do a giant Napoleon movie. I think it was back in the 60s even.
It was because Waterloo failed that he wasn't allowed to do it, but he got really high and crazy into it. And one of my favorite things about it is, because I always think about this with my films, he had like a drawer, like a file cabinet, and every single drawer was filled with note cards that said every single day of his life, Napoleon's life. So like Kubrick could just like open up a random drawer and be like April 6th, 1804. He was wearing a gray coat. He went to the fair. Like he knew everything. Wow. Because he wanted to paint Napoleon's story so amazing. And it was going to mostly focus on his young life and like him, before the Bastille Day and all that kind of shit. And it's very interesting.
It didn't happen, unfortunately. It seems like Ridley Scott's going to go there, though.
Mm-hmm. I think it might, that whole thing. But it's probably like 4 or 5 hours long.
It's 4.5 hours long.
Okay, I was right.
It's going to be released. If they're talking about releasing it as a 4.5 hour film.
Yeah. See, like I would go see it in theater if it was like all of us going together, but I don't think I will sit through it in a theater for 4 hours.
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
Sean and I are going to see it together.
No, I have not.
You need to go see Oppenheimer.
I know it's money though.
I know, but it's if you go on a Tuesday on like fucking 3 a.m. It's not 3 a.m. Fuck,
it won't be that late, dude.
Sorry,
3 in the afternoon.
Wrong. No, 3 in the afternoon. Yeah. It's like $11.
Okay.
You could jerk off in the back. Watch a movie.
You spend more on your lunch or on a vending machine these days than you do on a movie. If you do it correctly, right. And I don't mean like go and get like a pizza and a beer and have a hand delivered to you with buttered popcorn, then it's like a $40 movie.
Right.
But like go and go and sit down and just
fake your own tickets and it costs
nothing. Yeah. When you,
anyway,
I'll go into another story later. That's a story off air. All right, let's launch into it. So IMFDB, it's been the first time in a while we've had one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think since Florida War. It's gonna be a short one, thankfully, but we do have some stuff.
Webley.
So
you have the wrong ones.
Is that a later version?
So they should have been the earlier ones, right?
The short ones are like snub nose. They're very small. Like the one you see in Zulu is more correct. The Mark IVs were earlier.
Those things are huge.
Yeah, well, it's World War One.
Yeah, huge fucking pistol.
Trench revolver. Pistols are funny, as they needed them, they got more. So the Webley slowly evolved. It wasn't this big hand cannon forever. The Boers used a crazy multitude of stuff.
Yeah, I do kind of like that they do show that they're all using like Mauser type rifles, because that's what they would have had.
They used Henry Martinis. They used a lot of things, and they said the commandos, they had to have enough provisions for like a week and ammunition, everything ready to go at all times.
Seem to have a lot
very similar to a Minuteman.
Seem to have a lot of American Western type guns at this point.
South Africa is the Commonwealth, wild, wild west. It's a very, right way to compare them, or correct assumption, I should say. That was really cool to see the C96 broom handle. The really early versions of them did show up in the Boer War. They were called cone hammers because they have cone sides on the sides of their hammer. They're milled out. And Winston Churchill actually carried a C96. And Winston Churchill was captured by the Boers at one point, actually, on a train. And so his C96 was taken from him.
Poor guy.
Well, yeah, he was a war correspondent.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see these. These are something I don't have in my collection, but they're very neat.
Long rifle.
Yeah. Well, now you know why they went to the short.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, they went to the long, to the Longleys, the Lee Medfords, and then they went to the SMLE. And just at the beginning of the Second World War, they had really, the Empire had run its course with the Enfield action, the SMLE action. They wanted something better. They made plans to adopt a new rifle that didn't have this finicky 5-round magazine. We're going to go back to a traditional shooting rifle called the Pattern 14. World War I starts. And then you get 30 more years of a Lee Enfield.
Brian, so, what is that?
That's a magazine cutoff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
never seen that.
That allows you, you're supposed to have that on until your officer orders you to take it off so you can access your lower magazine. And that was a Lee Medford. They didn't have any provisions for chargers or stripper clips, so you had to load it by hand. Later on, the later rifles did, and then they had something called a floating charger bridge, which is literally this piece of like metal that goes back and forth. That when you put it all the way back, it forms the right wing of a support for a charger, so you can use stripper clips.
Because interesting.
The 1890s, the late 1880s, early 1890s is like a very innovative period for firearms because you just have smokeless powder, so you have all these new things you can do. So you don't have to do tubular magazines anymore. You can have box magazines. Well, if you can do box magazines, how quickly can you get that shit in there? Hence, you're at San Juan Hill in fucking Cuba, and you're, going up it with a Krag. And it takes you forever to reload your Krag while that guy has a fucking 5 rounds to put in his M93. Well, the rifle, he can shoot you at 1,000 yards. So the last thing I want to mention, or at least I don't want to forget, is so the Boers were really known for their accuracy, like legendary for their accuracy, for being able to pick off Highlanders at like 400, 500 yards or meters. It was crazy. All these guys talk about getting, the Brit veterans talk about getting just sniped at really long ranges, not being able to hit anything. Well, it turns out that they had a lot of trouble with the 303 cartridge at this time, and they really didn't know it. And most of the ballistics tests and performances had the rifles off about 2 inches at 100 yards. So, yes, the Boers are very accurate and they knew what they were doing with shooting, But the British soldiers were at a complete disadvantage from the beginning because they had very wonky ballistics going on with their rifles and with their early 303 cartridges. So how accurate were the Boers really? Yes, they're good, sportsmen, and they're good woodsmen, if for lieu of a better term. They can really live out there and be farmers in South Africa. But if you're fighting a foe that 20% of the time the shots are off, if not more, and these aren't trained professionals, what's the actual truth? So luckily that was all addressed after the Boer War and everything and stuff. But it's very interesting. And isn't it kind of funny that they have all these issues with precision with the SMLE, with the Lee Metfords, and thus they go to a P14 style rifle. It's completely different with a new type of ammunition. So it's kind of something interesting.
I will say it's very impressive that the fact that they actually have the correct Lee Enfields in here too.
Yeah, they're hard
because
to find.
how many times specifically at this point in any movie even before 1980 were we having the wrong whatevers, so that's very impressive, the fact that you point that out.
If you look at Blue Max, that's the Germans are using number 4s and the British are using number 3s, so it's all fucked up.
Like I love how even the close up here, it's you have the cutoff switch and all that stuff. Like that's cool. That's really cool.
Love me a Mauser rifle. Who doesn't?
That's wrong. They got less than that, but they bought a bunch of 7mm rifles. The M93 variant from it was a German company called Lohen Company.
For people who are for people who are on the audio, what was wrong about it?
Well, just the what they're mentioning in this, the Chilean Mausers. What happened was that after the British seized the last shipment of rifles and sold them to Chile, so there's a lot of discrepancies. But the Boers ended up buying a bunch of 1895 and 1896 model Mauser 7mm rifles, both cavalry and rifle models, from DWM, which originally was Ludwig Lohen Company, but they changed names in, I think, 1897, 1896. So there's a discrepancy in what the receivers are marked. The ones that went to the Orange Free State are marked OVS, and the ones that went to the Transvaal were never marked. But other than that, they just used shit that was floating around South Africa. At the end of the campaigns, they were allowed to keep their rifles because it's South Africa, but they had to turn in all their captured British equipment. So a lot of the Boers actually would carry a Mauser rifle and a captured British rifle because it was easier to have ammunition for the British rifle, but they didn't want to give up their family rifle, obviously. So that was just something they had to do when they surrendered. They're like, okay, you can keep your rifle, you keep your ammo, but you have to give us that one because that's ours. So it's kind of something that's funny, but that's what happens when you live on a territory or a frontier. You need to be armed. Yep. Yeah, I love the 1896 carbine or the 1895 carbine. That they're so cute. I have a the rifle, which is an original Boer one.
That's gotta be a hell of a kick.
Nope, 7mm. It's like butter.
Really?
It's beautiful. Yep. They're very nice. They're very light, and they're very accurate.
Is 7mm hard to find now?
Nope.
Still pretty prevalent.
You can get it, yeah. A Maxim.
No. It's like a interesting
right here,
muzzle.
yeah.
It's standard for
It was like a
well, you can put so many attachments on them and shit. I guess that's a stand-in for Vickers or what. I'm actually not sure what, the British didn't really want to adopt machine guns at this time because they thought that they could teach their riflemen to be, faster at taking down targets, and they didn't waste ammunition. I don't believe the Boers ever used machine guns either, but that's something I'm not too sure about. So we had talked about this earlier. From what I could find, they were armed at one point during the siege or the battle, and they were lost in the ruckus, and that they were seen going into the front lines of the ruckus or of the fighting. Nobody knows if they, quote, saved the fort or whatever, but by all accounts, they were right there where they needed to be without hesitation. And what I even loved that they said in the film, it's like, well, that broke the monotony,
Right. It's like, and yet still sacrificed for the good of the empire.
Just fucked, you know?
Yeah.
I
That's
think we have reached final thoughts.
That's it. Yeah. Cool.
Who wants to go?
Well, let's start with our resident Boer.
Residents Boer, like
the Dutchman.
Who hates himself.
Yeah. Except he's not flying. Oh, yeah, so we should ask you just to get a weather vane. Do you still hate the Dutch?
I've never said I've hated the Dutch.
You've always said you hated the Dutch. It's on record.
Yes, we have a record.
Yeah. No, I appreciate all of the a lot of things that have come from the Dutch. You know, there's some of the best art of mankind so far has come from the Dutch, in my opinion. But so that's pretty much what they're the best for.
You can still hate them.
As
we'll keep your secret. No one needs to know.
The Dutch are depressed. They're innovative, but they're depressed. But no, it's an okay movie. Kind of reminded me of movies from this time a little bit, even though you said like this whole court thing. It wasn't, but like it kind of did remind me in some aspects of like that movie about the Crimean War. Just kind of movies of that time. Not bad. Interesting story, I suppose. Pretty good. Like I said, it had some entertaining parts to it. So not bad. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. So I'll give it to Nate now.
I like how your
what
your review is literally like 2 sentences.
What else needs to be said?
A lot of things, man.
This movie. Oh my god. Let me give you a 10-hour dissertation.
Liar. I'll keep it quick too. I mean, tonight's gonna be a quick one. We're one man down, and it's a in between week movie of our kind of hits. I mean, like we like doing these kind of not well known what the fuck am I trying to say?
I don't know.
We like doing these not so known movies. There we go. Sometimes just because it's like, we don't want to burn through our Netflix A-list all the way through within the first year. I think it's really good to remember these lesser known movies and these lesser known topics, and even if it is all about a courtroom, I think it's still very important to the overall kind of feeling of why we wanted to do this in the first place. I mean, I think it is it's a very run-of-the-mill movie from 1980. But, I think something that is very impressive about it is the filming location, the props, even the pacing of the story, I thought was really good. Is it going to be a Master and Commander for me? No, it's slow, it's drawn out, it's about a subject that's about courtroom drama. I mean, it's not it's not going to be an action-packed movie. Nonetheless, I liked it a lot. I liked a lot of things about it, and I think it deserves a pretty damn good rating, I think, in my book, and I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 Screaming Mel Gibsons. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really like the settings and the props and all that kind of stuff, and I think it does need to be put on the radar as a pretty good movie. I mean, it's a courtroom movie, so don't expect Siege Jadetville kind of levels of entertainment. That's not what this is. But I liked it a lot. It caught me off guard. I was waiting for a fucking meandering, dull, black and white 1950s like era kind of film, and I did not get that. So
no, you got that, but with a color movie. I'm kidding. I don't hate the movie.
No. You're right. But here's the difference, though, and I'll just chime into that, and I'll hand off to Brian. It's like the language, the way things were captured, the pacing is not 1950s. It was a 1980s movie style film where we're upgraded into that modern like type of capture of cinema, where we are still getting, kind of the pacing of a 60s movie, but we're not getting the coverage of a 60s movie. Does that kind of make sense? Like it's more in depth. There's more cutting, there's more intricate shots, there's more yes, it's Victorian British, but it's not like, oh my god, put a stake in my head, like type of boring talk. Like I think it deserves. I think the fact that it's made in 1980 is the only reason why I'm scoring it an 8 out of 10. And I like it for that reason. Because of the coverage and the stuff with that. And the battle stuff's pretty impressive. Guys are getting knocked off of horses and, falling into flat on their backs on mud.
Yeah.
Like
decently...
the combat in it's pretty decent.
Yeah, that is true. I agree with that.
Yeah. And what really sticks out to me is the right props, the right firearms, the right kind of feeling in the sets to me. And it felt, and I love the landscape. My God, that's beautiful. Wherever they filmed. I don't think it was South Africa, but it's
probably somewhere in Australia.
So probably, yeah.
Although it is super cheap to film in South Africa for some reason.
Huh, I wonder why.
Reasons we don't talk about.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with it. It's a very interesting film. It's a little long, but overall it does what it sets out to do, and it's a very good Boer War film. If not the best Boer War film. There's really nothing I could add except for the fact that it was really well shot as well. I forgot to mention that earlier, but I thought it was, that might be why it's so long, because they were like, well, it's a simple story, but it's such a cool location, and we have the film crew that's here and the props that are here, and I didn't see any digital watches or any cars or anything crazy, like unlike Lord of the Rings. No.
Hey, whoa. Whoa.
Is there a famous error in Lord of the Rings where you see a car?
There's a car.
You can see a car. You can see like a parking lot in the back. Yeah,
no, it's not a parking lot. It's a white car in the back of a wide shot. I know what he's talking about. We don't talk about that. It doesn't exist. But it's the Balrog. It's the Balrog coming up to the surface and spying. Okay, I don't know why you are pointing out a not so flaw in this movie. Okay,
you're the one that's basically gave us in the time.
Shut up! So. You don't talk about God.
But no, it's a really well done, good movie for what it is. And that being said, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. It has a few technical issues, and what annoys me with the fact is that they made this film for a place and time, which is fine, 1980 Australia, where people knew what Breaker Morant meant, but you really want to make a film that's going to stand the test of time, where you don't have to look it up, So those things are just for reasons why it's like, yeah, it's, it needs a little bit of work, but it's a really good film. And, I hope that more people see it and it gets out there. So putting all the scores into the machine that will tell us if these men's death will actually bring a quicker end to the Boer War, we get a score of, I can do math. Nope, can't do math.
That's what I said in school.
Maybe I should call your school board and tell you how to do math again.
Yeah, well, I didn't pay fucking attention at all. So
yeah.
We give it a score of 7.5. So double 303 and then some. Yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's definitely worth a watch. So
cool. Oh yeah, there is a car in the background. I just looked up the footage.
Don't talk about it. God. Stop.
Nate's going on to YouTube videos that show it, and he's like, filing copyright claims, anything to get it blocked.
Stop it. Stop.
Leave Peter Jackson alone. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, guys. Yeah. And don't remember, shoot straight, you bastards. Don't make a mess of it. Get you guys next week.
Rule of law 3.
Jesus.
Well, If we lose Nate, we have an opening in the podcast. So if you'd like to join, please send a message to 6969 Dutchman Way,
303
Idaho.
Street. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. If you want to directly support our work, make sure to check out our Patreon. All these links are in the description below. Until the next time, Scuttlebutt out.